healing the hearts of orphans. How one missionary couple in Mexico is providing a loving family to those who need it most. Orphanages housing dozens or even hundreds of children are disappearing. Instead, governments are stepping in to protect children from neglect or abuse by placing them with substitute families. But one American couple in Mexico is creating a new model. It's a wholesome community for orphaned or abandoned children where they can grow up in a family atmosphere. Stan Jeter has their story.
In Arriaga, Chiapas, in southern Mexico, Bill and Tammy Woods and their missionary staff offer love and guidance to dozens of orphan children. They started out decades ago working on youth ranches and a Romanian orphanage, and saw that growth was limiting personal attention.
We started out with 8 kids, and then before long there was 20. Within a year we had 40. We found that as it grew, then we lost the family atmosphere. And the first 20 kids were very healthy emotionally. But then what happened with adding so many more children to the mix that you couldn't meet all the emotional needs.
Bill and Tammy didn't have children of their own, but they're convinced that every orphan needs a loving family.
When you put a bunch of children into a large building, you can maintain them. You can take care of their basic needs of clothing and schooling and food. But in terms of being able to get those hugs and time one-on-one, they lose it. And when a child begins to lose that, then something happens in their soul, something happens in their personality. We've seen children come out of orphanage that reject their adoptive parents because they don't know how to connect.
The Beacon of Hope is an orphanage set up like a home, according to founders Bill and Tammy.
Now that we're in Mexico, we really felt that we wanted to do something that was more family-oriented and have smaller amounts of children living with us.
This concept of Christian family has resulted in the emotional and physical restoration of dozens of children. As in the case of Carmita, a brutally abused autistic girl who over the years has been restored and turned into a happy young lady.
Many of these kids will never be adopted because their parents have parental rights, but they can't keep the children, so we keep them in long-term care. And so we function as a family. We tell the children, yes, to the world this is an orphanage, but to us this is family. When we go on vacation, we take all 20 plus kids with us. This is our family.
3 years ago, they began a new project called the Potter's Ranch.
The Potter's Ranch is 106 acres where we can take care of more than 200 children. We have the building for production of rabbits, cattle. We have fruit trees. We are also putting in greenhouses, all for the purpose of sustaining the work with what's produced here.
The ranch will also have tilapia tanks, a concrete block factory, and community homes.
To produce almost a village idea where you would put them in small homes with a substitute mother or a couple so that they could get that. We're designing it for 20 homes to begin with. There'll be a school in the area, everything that we'd find in a little village so that they feel like this is normal.
The ranch is designed to be self-sustaining and to host visiting work teams.
The goal is to make it self-sufficient so that we're not always looking for others to give. And it's also healthier. I think the kids can work there, they can learn to work with their hands and be outside and work with the animals. And then that way when they leave, they can have a life. So for us, the goal this year is to finish our first house, which is called the bunkhouse, and that house receives short-term teams that come in and help us build.
Bill, Tammy, and their team hope that with God's help, they can establish loving families that will serve hundreds of Mexican orphans now and for generations to come.
And we just go little by little, watching it happen.
Stan Jeter, CBN News.